All right, thank you for coming. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of December 10th, isn't it?
Yes, this is very okay. This is nice story. Miss Stephanie.
Okay, roll call. John Hodge is here.
Joe Bailey here.
John Mullen here.
First item, please, minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting dated December 3rd. Thank you. I think I've seen that one already.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Right. All in favor? Aye. Great. Opposed? No. Good. Next, looks like we're talking three ordinances. First one is the hawkers and peddlers. This is the second reading. I already did this a week ago, I believe.
Okay. What I did was, when we went through these, I made the corrections that we had talked about. Some of the things was the fines, or the fees, I'm sorry, the fees. We also had, this is like, what's this? This is on the part of
Hawkers, peddlers.
hawkers and peddlers. I did check the RSA's, those are all correct. Fees on page 2. I also changed it that, let's see, we had the licenses will expire in 365 days from the date of issuance. No person shall enter. Let's see.
So the license is gonna be for a year instead of 7 days?
Yep.
Okay.
We are gonna go for a year, a one-shot deal.
That was, we wanted it short.
We wanted it shorter.
Right.
We wanted it, this, I apologize, this is the original one that I have in your hands, and apparently, I didn't correct this one.
Because in the first paragraph, under authority,
Yeah,
first page,
yeah,
Town of Stratham.
yeah, so, if we can, if you wanna bypass this one until I correct those, because I did it, but I printed off the wrong thing here, so we wanna let this one go until the next one?
Okay, well, if I wanna take that, the time, I thought we'd be from
Yeah,
9
we,
to 5.
okay, what we did
Monday
was,
through Friday only.
we had 5 weekdays, I think that's what we had up here for the license, 5 weekdays. We also changed the time from Monday through 7, to put on there, the fee was $25, and it was 40, and the time was okay, Monday through Friday. Then, of course, the town of Stratham, we had to change some things. That was the gist of it. I apologize, I didn't redo that. I'll have that done on your desks here shortly, so we can redo that one. I thought I had done it, but I guess I didn't.
Okay.
So I'll take those back so you don't get confused. Just give me the ones I gave you.
Okay. Anyone have any comments? We talked about it last week. Any understand what we're doing? Okay. Before we approve it, we'd like to have all the corrections made.
So I gotta make a note here. You do.
To John Mullen's credit, he has researched a number of our ordinances against similar ordinances in other towns. This one happens to be against Stratham. Okay.
Yeah, we use.
I've won not much on reinventing the wheel. If someone has gone through the expense of talking with their legal department and they have a workable ordinance that's similar to ours, I'm anxious to look at it.
I hope I did this one right.
I hope so too.
Alright, so now, we're gonna write tabled on that one.
Whatever, if you get a really good ordinance written,
It's different from everybody else, put it under copyright, so you can get all
Yeah.
the fees.
Okay, so this one is special events. Does anyone need, agenda? Everybody's all right? Knows where we are on this? Okay. All right, here we go.
Wait a minute, this one doesn't look like this one either. Okay, we talked about, oh, okay, we talked about, no, I mean, these RSA's under authority. Okay, special events. Special events have to do with certain defined events per an RSA. And, yeah, here's the things here. And we have our, okay. Special events, and they cite some regs here, RSA 284 and 286. 286 gives some definition of what special events are. They're showman type of events, horsemanship, sleight of hand, rope dancing feats with cards, wax figure puppet shows, promote any public competition. Then they have theatrical parades and meetings. Those are definition of what they are. So, and 284. Okay, there's an RSA mentioned down somewhere in the back here about who can enforce these rules. And police officers and watchmen, that's RSA 105.9, that's listed later. So we didn't change much in this hawkers thing. I kind of took it, I think we talked about licensing requirements, application procedures, site plan. I changed site plan for the event. Remember, it was just site plan? Let's see, what else I did. I left the 3,000 plus, 4 categories.
Yeah.
Because you never know. So we have it there, and let's see, what else did I do?
In that same line,
Yeah,
estimated participation per day,
per day.
1 to 99. You still have to pay if you plan to have 10 people show up,
Yep,
still pay.
still pay. Okay, so, most of the stuff was, pretty much, this was taken pretty much in a combination of our current ordinance and, Stratum's ordinance. And we went back here on page 3, breach of terms, subject to a fine up to $300, failure to obtain a license, blah, 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 blah. Okay, on page 4, we talked about certificate of insurance and what is that? And I talked to Andrea Bowden and asked her, what do people normally get on events? And she said, well, they provide a certificate of insurance, and that's for them, so that they're covered for their event, for any liability, so forth and so on. So some events carry more than others. So a generic term would be a certificate of insurance. So I left it as certificate of insurance.
So who determines the amount of liability insurance?
Well, the insurance company, depending on the event, that's what she said. So if you have, I don't know, a quilt show, it's gonna be less than an equestrian show. I would think, I don't know.
If the damages for the town exceed what the insurance is, then you've got a legal situation.
So I don't know, I left it like that. I mean, you know, in terms of setting an amount, I think, this is showing the carrier and a liability insurance will be required and a license permit will not be issued until the CEO is received. The COI shall be explicitly named the town of Middleton as additional insured, must state the name and dates of the event.
Can you talk with insurance person, they felt it's all right, the way it's written?
I talked to Andrea,
Right, she
does
works for
commercial
insurance, right.
insurance, yeah. She writes these all the time. So, she said this is a common term that's used.
Last week I mentioned this business of paying 50% of the special duty fees before the approved permit would be used. How do we get the rest of it?
You bill
Yeah,
them. I mean,
are we creating a problem by not requiring more ahead of time?
well, you can, I don't know. I suppose, we could say an hourly rate, and you're gonna have the officer there for 8 hours, you gotta pay up front the whole amount. I mean, we could do that, but then we also reserve in here, if there's additional fees required because it took more people, or another town comes in and needs help, the other town will bill that person the amount. So, if you wanna bill them 100% up front, that's fine.
I'll ask the audience, any of you involved in giving quotes for something, and you have to pay something down before the work will begin, and then, once you've done your work, you may have problems collecting the other pieces.
Contractors do that all the time.
Right, and I'm wondering whether contractors have problems with it.
I do a quote for a furnace and boiler, I get 75% down. That pays for all the parts and materials. If I lose my labor.
But
So,
this is personnel costs or town costs.
But again, I mean, usually the standard is 50% down on anything.
Anybody else, any thoughts on it?
So,
It all depends on the event, and the insurance company will more than likely tell you what you have to have up front.
yeah,
In order for them to cover that, they're
particularly
gonna tell you what you need to pay up.
when the town is on there as a,
Sure.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to bring up another point now. We now have the old town hall,
If you're way ahead of me, John.
okay,
Page 2, we talked about indoor events. What I said there referred to the Middleton Old Town Hall policy. That's the only indoor event, that's the only indoor venue we have per se.
And basically, we've got that all covered already, so what's
Yep.
that?
So that's what I did on that one.
Sound good?
Again, I checked all the RSA's,
So what if I have an indoor event at the school?
That's
that's
school's deal.
school's issue,
But this is a town ordinance, not town property, right?
town property.
That's not town property.
Okay, so I can have barbecue, we discussed this, like graduate, this doesn't go to that? Am I confused?
It excludes, in here, cause I read that.
Definitions of the first place.
So we don't go to that?
It says, no licensed special event shall be permitted to take place on a property that's more than 2 times in any one calendar year. Though such special event may be licensed for multiple days, special events shall not include.
One, private family events such as weddings,
Weddings.
funerals, graduation parties, property owned by the family, periodic fundraising events for religious or other charitable organizations that are in Middleton, when the entirety of the event takes place at the facility of that organization. To qualify as a special event, the event must not be permissible or permittable by any other committee, commission, board, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
A community event is a special event sponsored in whole and part by the town of Middleton. So
Okay.
that's not, this is really for
Big
private.
events.
Like the circus. if the
I
circus
guess,
came
I mean,
from
that's
that.
a good example, circus or, yeah,
Okay, cause I know last time we were a little confused. on
yeah, we
that.
were,
Okay,
so that,
for the record, right?
yep, and that's spelled out in those RSA's 286:1, 286:2.
Now, if we had such an event, and they
What's
sell,
such an event?
say we had circus,
The circus came
and they say like that, they sell food and stuff like that, at that point, would they have to have a hawkers and peddlers permit to go along with it?
They do, and they also have to be properly licensed if they're doing that
The
also.
state, right, they have to show a state license as
Yep.
well that they.
And I think a circus, I think, knowing New Hampshire licensing everything under the sun, would probably have to have a license to perform in the state of New Hampshire.
Well, we had a carnival before.
But you had a carnival,
Right over there with rides and.
But that was
That
for the
was
family fun week,
family,
too.
No, that was years ago, we had it
Was
over
it?
the fire station, I'm actually trying to get another one, but.
well, if that was a town-sponsored function, that would not be considered a special event. If it was a private function,
It would,
it would be. If, like your association, I
Right.
guess, I'm not an attorney, but I would guess that if it's for the benefit of the community, I guess it would not be considered a special event.
Okay, cause that's where the two things, where we got the department is one entity and the association is a separate entity.
Right, one is a 501c3 and then one is a town
Correct.
entity, but the
So-
501c, but,
well, rec committee is a 501c3 as well, we have our own insurance,
Right,
so.
but that would fall under, community event.
That means the community of the town is accepting all the liability on that event.
In terms of circus, you need only refer to Lancaster if you have questions.
Yeah.
You remember Lancaster? A year or two ago, the tent blew down and a child was killed.
From Vermont. Okay,
All right, comments from anyone? Any reason to delay enacting this? Anybody have concerns, like you want more time to read it?
For legal first?
oh yeah, we should send this to legal.
Okay, so is it ready to be sent to legal?
I would say it is.
All right, so let's. Okay, throw it to legal. Okay, one more, obstruction of class 5 highways ordinance.
Okay,
Now, do you want all these back so that we don't get
yeah,
mixed up?
so you don't get them messed up, yeah. I believe this was called obstruction of class 5 highway ordinance final, and I believe we did this one as, winter parking regulations during winter road maintenance. We changed that name, or I changed the name, not we, but I changed the name to that one. The obstruction one was, had to do with, and I don't have it here with me.
Parking, stuff like that.
It had, well, there's two things going on here. I can give you a copy of a proposed parking regulation. This here has in it, talked about, putting snow on, roads and so forth and so on.
I have a concern about listing just snow.
Well, it
In the
says,
fall, someone cuts a tree down, and leaves the logs in the road.
it says, where are we here, establishment parking regulations, the purpose of the service during winter emergency attempt road maintenance. Winter maintenance means that it will consider ongoing.
I think you did include the word debris somewhere.
Yeah, there was a word, and I'm trying to find that here. Major interference. There is another one here, obstruction.
Right.
Oh, thank you. Right here, sorry. Okay, yes. Purpose of this is, the placing of snow, ice, and other debris.
Right.
I'm sorry, this is snow obstruction and other debris, this is a winter parking one. I got so many going here, I can't keep track of them all. This is an easy one, not an easy one. Okay, this has placing snow and ice and debris within a public way which creates an unexpected or unnecessary hazard for the public using the highway when not part of the town winter maintenance and travel ways. That's the purpose of this ordinance. And, what it says, prohibitive acts, and this is what the major change was made, because our original ordinance talked about significant amount of snow, and, that caused a couple of issues Enforcing the ordinance,
The word significant,
the word
It's a matter of
significant wouldn't
interpretation.
fly, because what do you determine significant? So what most towns have done in terms of putting snow on a driveway, or putting snow on a public way, they just said, can't do it at all, period. So, no resident, property owner, or operator of a vehicle or equipment shall put, place, or store, or cause to be put, place, or store snow, ice, or other debris which has been removed from private property onto any public road or sidewalk, if we ever get them, within the town of Middleton. And then it talks about, that's it in a nutshell. And then it talks about penalties and what they are. They cite what they are, and what's down here, and the penalties are, $20 for the first time penalty, on the second offense is 30, and after that, subsequent offenses are 50. And the payment procedures are pretty standard across some ordinances here, so it just tells you, payment has to be within 14 days, has to go to the police department, so forth and so on. That's pretty much it. That is it. I did double check on the RSAs, they are good.
Okay. John?
I didn't hear you mention when you plow a driveway, can you still push the snow across the road on the other side? Because it's always been that you're not allowed to do that.
No.
I didn't hear,
I think,
the old ordinance, people were sitting and doing, why didn't you put that much snow? It says, no, how much? And basically, this says none at all. You just cannot do it.
there,
That's not what he's asking.
that's not what that's
no,
not
I
what
know
I
what
mean.
you're talking about. There is in one of these ordinances, or one of these RSAs, let me see if I can find it, that talks about it has to plow it off the road by 5 feet. Let me just see here. Enforcement. Because the highway department gets nervous that they don't plow it if you push it across the road. Limitation.
Aren't there a few driveways in town that it's virtually impossible to plow unless you go down your driveway across the road?
Then you have to snow blow it. Look, the homes on, around Sunrise Lake, they're very densely populated. My own particular one, I have no place to plow it. I can't even plow it across the road because it's private property across the road. I wouldn't wanna do that to my neighbor anyway, but that's what it is. So I snow blow. I have no place to put it. So it's like city living. You gotta snow blow it or shovel it. There is a rule on, I'll have to look at that. If you plow across the road, you can't leave it on the travel ways, and there's a definition of what a travel way is. And the travelway is not just at the end of the pavement, it's beyond that. And the 5 feet sticks in my mind. And that's another, not our ordinance, but it's a statute. And I'll have to look that up. I can add that to this here if we want.
Couple of items, please.
Yes.
First paragraph, authority. Establish the following ordinance regarding snow obstructions. Further down, you talk about snow, ice, or other debris.
So you wanna change that
So
to,
the top one should say something about other debris,
sure.
okay? Regarding
Obstruction.
snow, obstructions, or other obstructions. Second, I know what John Ramon's coming from.
I do too, yeah.
If you read prohibited acts, it says, has been removed from private property onto any public road. Well, if you push it across the road,
You're on a public road, you gotta get off the public way.
okay, but if you push it across the road, the public way, or whatever you wanna call it, is that okay? Or not okay? If it's not okay, we ought to be saying so, cause that sounds like, I didn't put it on the public road, I put it across and left it on the other side of the road.
Well, I think, no resident or property owner or operator of a vehicle or equipment shall place, or store, or cause to be put, placed, or stored, snow or ice or other debris which has been removed from private property onto any public road. So, how far do we go when somebody has to plow across the road, if they plow across the road? Do we have to have them get out there and sweep it? If we do that, there's going to be, if they have to remove the snow off the road, if they leave there, would it have that? I mean, if you stop that, I know where you're coming from, but I mean, how definitive do you wanna get here? I would say that it's pretty clear that you have to remove this, can't have the snow on the public way.
Okay, but are you, with this ordinance, are we allowing it to be pushed across the street?
It doesn't, yeah,
Okay, that's
See, I thought-
easy in the other way.
The whole idea, I thought, of us going from the old ordinance and trying to redo these was, it wasn't definitive enough. I always thought, because of the highway department saying, when they go down through and they treat the roads and stuff like that, and all of a sudden somebody plows across the street and just got plowed away. They didn't want that to happen, so basically we didn't want anybody plowing across the road.
if,
So, and if we have a 5-foot thing, whatever, that, it's kinda like a conflict, to me, in my mind, that you're saying one thing here, but someplace else was saying, yeah, well, if you do it, you gotta have it 5 feet back.
well, you have to keep the road, that is a point about, the salt on the road, but I think, in reality, if you clear the snow from the road in a plow on the other side and out of the public way, I think that's a reasonable thing. If you say you can't do that anymore because of, you're gonna push the salt or whatever is on the road off of that, well, that's, I think that's a little severe, in my mind.
Go ahead.
To clarify this public way, if you put after that section, per RSA, the definition of, public way is 5 feet from paved area or something.
I can just cite an RSA up at the top of what a public way is.
John?
I think you ought to talk to Rick about that one. I think he's gonna have a very hard time with anybody plowing across the road, because they can never clean it good. They never do.
No, the other
Well,
part,
we've
the
always-
other part, the whole idea, the other part of it was, they go down through, the roads are clean, they put down the treatment and stuff like that, okay? Somebody comes and plows all the treatment off, and say it's only like a 25, 30-foot swath. But if that turns to ice, it's not treated, and there's an accident, who's liable for it? Because the roads were treated, is the homeowner who had to push across and take care of all that? Yeah, I can see an
Well,
argument
I-
coming.
I think, I understand that, and I think the gist of the ordinance to change this for no snow was because there were people leaving as you plow across, or people even when they snow blow. I've seen, not too often, I've seen people snow blowing in the roads. They do it in other cities, and that's not correct. But I think if we say no snow, and we're plowing the snow off, I think saying you can't do that at all, I think is a little overreach on my point of view.
Yes, I'd like to talk to Rick, but there's a big difference between me plowing with my Ford F-250, which has shoes, okay? The shoes wear out instead of the edge wearing out, versus a town truck, which has no shoes, they get right down to the pavement.
That's correct.
And you can make me go across that road 10 times and I'm still leaving stuff there.
So where do we go?
I think I'd like to get the advice of Rick Washburn on
Okay.
this and see where we go.
We'll hold this and I'll talk to Rick.
Yeah. You
We'll
agree,
talk,
Joe?
we'll talk to Rick.
Yeah, I was hoping Rick be here to meet, and he could weigh in on it, but
Okay, so,
this will be tabled, you want to be going back to?
Yep, just give him all that.
okay. Next item, anybody know what SFPNHF is? I know what it is. Society for the Protection of the New Hampshire Forest. They could have gotten a longer name, but I'm not sure how. Anyway, a property deed.
So, back quite a ways ago, we accepted their bid for that. Remember, they do a title search and all that, well, they're just getting around to that now.
Where's the land located? I remember.
I believe it's on John Jones Road, yeah. Oh, I can tell you right here. Yep, John Jones Road. So
You know
he,
where John Jones Road is? Going up Kings Highway, right hand turn and goes way up into the woods,
so Brian
unless
Holtz
you come
from
the other way.
the prevention, wants you to review the deed, and if you think it's good, sign it, and he'll get me the other paperwork for you to sign and finalize. That's his email.
I believe that Forest Society purchased this land.
They're going to.
Yes.
They put it in a bid back in the day,
Okay.
back in June.
Okay.
Look at that
So
one.
how does that work? I mean, I know that they have so much time to give the money and then, I mean, I know I think you guys ended it because it was, but I mean, it's like 5 months.
John?
Where is that in relation to the other 60 acres that we gave to them years back? Up on the watershed?
It's that A-frame that was down in there, John.
Pardon?
It's that A-frame that was down in there, almost on the very last camp that was down in there.
Last one in the right-hand side,
Yes.
big old red A-frame that has a lot of roof,
Well,
a lot of raccoons in there.
yes. Rather-
You and I saw it once, yeah.
And I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty I am gonna say that, I think it abuts the property they already
I
have,
think it does too.
so.
So, Laura, I believe we voted to accept this, accept that bid, now we're just doing the paperwork.
Right.
Okay.
So I got a question here.
Yep.
Meaning and intending to describe and convey all the same premises conveyed by tax collector deed of Deborah L. O'Toole. That's because her name was on it way back when?
Yeah, we took it in 14.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know what Deb's name was, because, you know.
Yeah, no, whoever deeds it, names on there.
All right. How much land?
It's
So 2 acres.
1.2 acres.
1.2,
I
it's
guess
this
we're not
little.
gonna spend too much time talking on 1.2 acres. Sorry, we didn't vote on
it's
it.
that
All right,
big.
you want a motion to accept?
Make a motion that we accept the quitclaim deed for the, lot of 1.4 acres?
1.2.
1.2, I'm sorry, tax map 20, lot number 7.
Okay,
Yeah, 1.2.
Second.
okay. Everybody understands what we're doing? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good. And you want some signatures?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I continue to be disappointed that we sign these things and nobody ever asks for our pens after we've signed. It's depressing.
Oh, I got mine. I'm gonna take it back.
I get mine from Laura.
Yeah, the town can't keep afford buying them over and over.
Okay, mileage expense report. Any brief talk about
Yeah.
what we're doing?
Sorry.
You get started.
Bingo. We have, some offices and some, employees that have mileage, we give them mileage, and they get reimbursed for the mileage. And they typically just give us one number at the end of the month.
Right?
And we might want to take a look at having a log for those in terms of how many miles they're going, just list there the logs of miles. Not that anybody has had any impropriety or not, but I think not to make sure, just sure that the mileage is correct, that they log in. It's very simple, the date, starting location. If it's, let's say it's from here to, I don't know, if it's around the town, Middleton to Middleton, okay? Like John would do, he goes around the town, he gets mileage. So beginning odometer, end odometer, and that's for the day. The treasurer goes along. This would be, she takes deposits to the bank, so this would be, starting location would be town of Middleton. This form isn't complete, but this is basically, destination would be Profile Bank in San Juanville, and we put a slot in here as a round trip, yes or no, and the mileage, and then the ending and so forth. So give us a record of just more specific each day that individual is going, so we can match up, and this will be used as just additional information.
Two reasons to talk about this in the first place. One, when we reviewed the budget request for the ensuing year, the question of the animal control vehicle came up, right? And I wondered whether we should maintain an old vehicle or simply pay mileage to the animal control officer. It was determined that we need a vehicle since most people might not want a dog chewing up the backseat of their private car. The second impetus came from me, almost a year ago now, where in the town of Milton, there was some very serious questions about mileage reporting. And they tightened up their requirements because of abuse of the system. So, any comments on yay or nay and what we're doing or should be doing?
Question. Yeah, we talked about it at the meeting last week.
Right?
It's stated, you had commented, John, being stated in the RSA whether mileage, so that's just
I
a.
could not find any state statute that says you must pay mileage.
Right.
It says you may, doesn't talk about municipalities, it says, private concerns. So that would be up to, individual municipalities if they do pay that. You can have 2 points of view here. If you're taking your own vehicle, okay, and you're doing a town's business, probably you should pay mileage. If they're provided with they're provided with a town vehicle to wherever they're going, if they go on whatever they're doing, no,
Well, right, yeah.
obviously. So we have two individuals here in the town that use their they use their vehicle, okay? And they should be paid mileage, but I think for the control purposes, and this is not to imply that anybody has done anything wrong, just wanna make sure that there is no question down the road at all. I do this for the state. When I travel, I fill this thing out. And that was my reimbursement travel expense. When I worked for a company,
Right,
I filled out daily
yes.
as an expense report. So I don't think I think it's just another check and balance. again, not saying anybody's doing anything wrong, but a check and balance on who's doing what where. And
John?
so there's no impropriety whatsoever.
That's just another form for me to fill out. I already do that on my timesheet. Every day I fill out my timesheet of what I've done, where I've gone, what the mileage is. I don't give my odometer reading, but I explain. Like if I have to go to, say up on Dudley where John lives, it's 4 miles from here to there and back. I put the address down and I put what the mileage is. And the time that I've taken to go there. So I get my time, my mileage, all on that same sheet. Do I have to make out another form?
Probably not.
I don't think so. You're missing the other half. Remember we said the two people, and the other half is just mileage.
Can I pipe in on that though? It
Okay.
really should be uniform, if you're gonna, I'm just saying, as an office person, it should be uniform, if you're gonna have somebody fill it out, they all should fill out. And I understand you're saying it's more work, but it should be uniform, everybody should fill out the same sheet. I'd be,
I agree.
I'd like to see, I see it a lot when
I
it
get
goes,
where you're
I'd like
coming
to see
from,
your
but-
form.
It's almost like everybody submits something different.
Okay.
Everybody's
Uh,
time sheet, like we tried.
yeah, you're trying to,
Speaking of which, what about someone that goes to training?
There you go.
They should submit one of those.
They should submit one of those.
But that's what I'm saying, right now, it's like a ripped half piece of
yeah,
paper with 3
you're
lines
right,
on it.
yeah, it's not
You don't
very
know what
professional.
month it's
when-
for, like,
As we talked about in the budget committee meeting about encouraging more training for all departments, this would be an ideal record to keep track of training, mileage, whoever drives, whatever it is, and that would come out of the, and it would just be an extra check and balance. John, maybe what we could do is look at your form,
Maybe
But-
Maybe that's sufficient for everybody to use.
maybe it's sufficient for everybody, but this is the first shot at it. Yours is more detailed with you list all that stuff, some are not. This is, maybe we can modify this form, you put down the date, the time, and where you're going. Well, you can have on here destination description notes. So your timesheet, this could be a timesheet. Mileage log expense report / timesheet, possibly. Because your employee name, employee ID, vehicle description, blah, 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 blah. So we can modify, the point is, it's the thinking of the process, and I agree with you, that should be for everybody. So if we have to change your timesheet to maybe incorporate some of the things that you do in here, so that it's more universal, that you don't have to do any more work, but still capture those who go to training, the treasurer in particular, when she goes down to wherever she's gotta go to do her stuff. I think it would be a good thing. This is the first shot,
Okay.
so I think it's, we should continue to pursue that.
Can we get a blank one from you?
Yeah, I'll bring a copy down to you.
Yeah, good. All right,
Okay.
comments from anyone else? Anyone do this as part of their work? Submitting timesheets? Do you do beginning odometer, ending odometer?
All my life I did them.
Yeah.
Different, and the federal government requires it if you're gonna do it on your tax return.
Yeah.
You keep a log of what you
Yeah.
do.
one of the companies I worked for, part of my salary was to have a company vehicle. And like, after a few years like that, they figured, well, that's worth X amount of money in your salary and stuff like that, so they wanted you to start logging your mileage like that. And at one point, they would have you pay some of that back, or take it out of your current salary, because they wouldn't, instead of making 40,000, you're making 60 with that vehicle.
Yeah, we used to,
So-
in my company, I worked for 30 years for the company, and we had originally put beginning mileage, company car, but my company cars, every one I had was allowed for personal, so it was a little more difficult, but we did put beginning and ending mileage, but then at the end, it was just mileage per day. And so
that's the reason why they made, actually, because we were allowed to, it was personal, they wanted to separate business from personal,
Yeah,
and the hours for
because I
personal
paid,
was
because,
used.
in my particular situation, I paid a monthly fee to the company for use of personal, which was minimal. Which
But
was
that was
great.
also part of your wage package as well.
Indirectly.
So, indirectly, so that was also part of your social security and like that, something to all that, so.
There were accounting ways you could do it and
I
accounting ways
know.
you could get around it.
Yeah, I know.
And it all depending on how the company reported that mileage on your W-2.
I'm smiling because this brings back memories of my first few years in the United States Navy, stationed in Norfolk, Virginia.
Good old Norfolk.
When you wanted to leave the immediate area, you had to put on a request sheet and state the mileage. You never had to prove the mileage with an odometer. So I'd request to go from Norfolk, Virginia to Manchester, New Hampshire, mileage, 110 miles. Nobody in the Navy even knew where New Hampshire was, they had no reason to doubt it, so. All right, here we go, so, you have a chance to look at your form there?
I'll bring a copy down.
Thank you. Okay, department heads, here we go. Who wants to go first?
Okay.
All right,
I always
fire
like to
away.
go first. I really don't have much, as, I really don't. We sent out tax bills November 29th, due date of December 29th, thanks to you guys for the help, sending them out on time. I've given out, so that's just tax, that's pretty much all I'm doing right now is just tax bills. We're getting a lot of money in, which is great.
Did everybody get their belt stickers?
Yes, they did. I had 2 great staplers.
Just a reminder on the bulk stickers.
Yes.
If you said you didn't get one, bring in your tax bill, and we'll see if you didn't get one, because if there's a staple on there, you got one.
Yes, exactly. We were
The
smart
reason why-
about this
so
time.
Your tax bill, the only reason why you would have a staple mark is when you put your belt
When we
stickers on.
stapled it,
Other than that,
yep.
no reason for a staple would be in there. All right.
Correct.
John and I and you put in every tax bill, all 11, 1,300, whatever they were.
Yeah, only addresses when, only 911 addresses.
Only 911, no land,
No land.
no land.
So
Yeah.
just an you only got bulk stickers where the trash pickup
Now,
stops.
there may have been some slipped
Yes,
in there,
there's
land,
probably
but
some slipped
for
in
the
there,
most part, it was.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yes.
So for the taxes, that's about it. Oh, sorry.
Just one more comment and then you're on. The ebb and flow of tax money. Tax money comes in, we pay bills. More money comes in, we pay more bills.
Yep.
Well, sometimes that balance isn't quite right and the towns have to get what's called a TAN, Tax Anticipation Note.
Yep.
We borrow short-term money, it's not $100, it's usually several thousand, $100,000,
Yeah.
to pay the bills, and then when the tax money comes in, we pay off the TAN. How are we for needing a TAN? Don't
We-
have to commit yourself, just
I think
general feel.
I think we're gonna make it because I just got notice that we're getting the big one of the big tax payments in from one of the mortgages coming in that it's tomorrow.
Why do we wish to
Uh,
avoid a TAN?
Because I believe you have to pay interest on
Pay
it.
interest,
so, yeah.
sure, yeah.
So yeah, we don't want to do that. But we've been getting steadily tax money in every day and enough, I think, to help us out.
So we keep the spending freeze in place until the end of the year,
I-
we'll be okay.
I think I would.
Supposedly.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend
I would at least until we get the big one.
the big
Right.
one. Yeah, there's 3 big ones and I have one coming tomorrow.
We
But
only got a couple more weeks, I mean, leave it in place till the first of the year, I don't know
Yeah.
that, so.
But when we say big, we're not talking about fixing a flat tire on a police cruiser down at the pre-dealer's garage. County tax, how much?
400 of the county is
Okay.
460.
174,000.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just signed that.
School, 248 plus.
148,000.
I didn't
Every
write that
month.
one yet, by the way, I waited on it.
Yeah, we didn't
So,
like that.
so eight
Yeah.
years though, that's over,
So it's up there.
$700,000 alone.
County tax is due on the 15th of December, and
Yeah.
if you don't pay it on that time, they whack you with a very big fine.
Big fine.
Big
Yeah.
fine.
Joanne,
Oh,
question?
the tax bills go to property owners with the stickers, the bulk
Okay.
stickers. So do the property owners then pass them on to tenants if there's a tenant in that
That's up,
property?
yes, that's up to you guys.
Do you do?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Good evening, sir. What can I do to help?
I was just wondering if there were any police downstairs, or,
Have you been downstairs?
yeah, I went down there and I knocked a couple of times, but I didn't.
There's a number where you can call them, the dispatch. It's on the door, I believe.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You
Yeah,
have a
that- no, one
phone
of
to
the-
call?
Yeah, I have a phone.
Okay. If you have no luck, come back and we've got phones here, we'll
No
call.
landline.
If you call dispatch will radio the police officer, you have to wait for him to talk to him.
Thank you very much.
If you need a place to wait, you're welcome to wait right here. I'm not sure the reason for your call, but if you're being bothered or whatever, stay with us. Okay?
Appreciate it. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right.
So yes, just my question, Kathy, is the tax bills are due the 29th. That's a Saturday.
Yes, and I am open that day.
Okay, I just,
Yeah, it's my last Saturday of the month. I'm open. We made sure, cause I'm like, we were like, oh, we can make it. Yeah, we made sure we were open. So 9 to 12, last Saturday of the month, we're open. So it worked out really well, actually. We got lucky,
yeah.
to be honest with you. Although I probably would have been open anyways, just to be
Well, no,
open, but.
right, well, right. 'Cause, I
Yeah.
mean, because if it's on the weekend, some people might be like, well, you know. I
Yeah,
know
open,
this-
nope, I'm definitely open that day. So 9 to 12,
Okay.
so, yeah, just in case, you never know.
All right.
And then, oh, do you want me to do assessing or no?
Please do.
So for assessing, just pretty much a lot of abatement applications have gone out, meaning that a lot of people do not agree with their assessment. So the only thing I can do as an assessing clerk is give them an abatement application, and they have to prove to our assessor, Jonathan, beyond reasonable doubt, pretty much, of why they think their assessment's wrong. So I've given out 18 applications.
Just so everybody understands.
Mhm.
Assessing clerk does the paperwork.
Like I
If
said,
someone
sorry.
questions the amount of taxes, an application for abatement goes to you. It then goes to Avatar, the company that investigates the claims.
Yes,
After that, where does it go to?
it goes back to you
Right,
guys.
the selectmen have the
They,
final say.
Jonathan will say whether he recommends it or does not, and then it will go to you,
Right.
ultimately is your decision.
But they still have another avenue to go, because
Um,
if they still disagree with Avatar, they can go to the state
Yeah, they
and
can go
have
to the
them come
BTLA.
down and
Right.
check it.
But there's some, well, that's only if they don't, I mean, there's certain, yes, that's what the taxes.
The ultimate decision rests with the selectmen.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Oh. The question forgot first.
that's okay.
All right, it'll come to you.
Oh.
All right, anything else? No, I guess, I don't know. Chief, you wanna go?
Yeah.
Oops, there we go.
Charges for the request for Avatar to re-examine their properties.
They don't
There's a
charge
lot
for
of-
anything.
I don't think they charge anything.
A lot of them, well, once again, I just wanted it stated in the record because there are some Facebook people saying that
They
they can't afford.
charge you to come back out, and I don't believe that's the case, but I haven't really confirmed that, to be honest.
You mean charge the land, charge the,
If they don't agree,
property owner?
yeah, I know, I think they're thinking of like a private assessment, I
Right,
think
cause I was
that's
gonna
what they're
say, we
thinking
had,
of,
Avatar came out a couple years ago.
and they don't, it's in within our contract.
What's the state, organization that they have to contact if they still have a disagreement?
BTLA, if
Bureau
they,
of Taxation and Land Assessment.
Yeah. so,
Without getting into all the particulars, I think you would agree that one of the biggest problems is that initially landowners do not allow the assessor, that's not you, the
Yeah.
assessor
to
to
come in.
come inside the house to examine. Landowners say, nope, you can't come in. You're right, you cannot force yourself as an assessor to come in. But the assessor then makes assumptions about your property. Oh, you have hardwood floors throughout, oh, you have granite counters, okay? You have 5 bedrooms. None of which can be verified or denied until you get inside. So it's when they get that assessment, you say, wait a minute, I don't have 5 bedrooms. And then the assessor is invited in.
And they did give everybody the opportunity to meet in August. They sat here for a whole week, taking appointments over the phone. And a lot of people didn't get that mailing, but still, they did try, and they were here for a whole week. I was here.
Okay.
So, but you're gonna have a lot of applications.
Chief? Please?
This is one of the things I'd like for a warrant article if possible, and then there's a quick report.
Okay. You wanna read it or want us to?
I'll go right in.
Okay, this is. Fire calls 119, that's for the entire year.
Year to date.
No, okay. Medical calls are 111, but is there some overlap? Like if a fire truck goes to a medical call, does that count in both spots?
No, it only counts in the fire call.
Okay. Engine one, probably the oldest of ours, a little over 14,000 miles. Ambulance one, which could very well be the oldest, it's got 34,000, almost 35,000 miles. Rescue one, 8,000, and engine five, almost 9,000.
Yeah.
Okay. The fire department helped New Hampshire State Police look for a missing person
About New Portsmouth
on
Road.
Portsmouth Road. And one firefighter is helping another firefighter with driver training.
Yeah, Lieutenant Green is helping, do a driver's training. Also, if I put in there, the new ambulance is looking like middle of January.
What,
Good.
can I ask you about that? When was that ordered?
That was ordered right after town meeting.
Last year.
Did it come through the board?
Oh,
Okay.
I've only done that once.
Okay, Joe?
On the fire call, 119 for the year.
Yep.
Is that mutual assistance included? Mutual aid?
Given or received?
Giving? I mean, whatever.
Yeah, cause that all gets listed under
I mean,
calls.
119 calls in Middleton for, what does that include for fire calls?
Well,
Out of
that can,
curiosity.
that can include wires down, it can include lift assist with the ambulance, they can include car accidents, vehicle off the road. I can give you a
Well, I mean, not I mean, it could include structure fires if we had them.
right,
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, sounds like the hotel is going down 119 calls, but a lot of people need to understand what that includes.
yeah.
Okay.
No, and especially for the town report, I can break that all down, so, like the town of 6, 7.
Alright,
calls.
any luck?
No, there was no number on the door.
Oh, I'll go get it.
Alright, thank you. Perhaps you can help with the actual call, so that they can start. Good. Alright, any other questions? We'll do EMS as well?
Okay. He said something about a warrant article.
Oh,
I put in for, one of the warrant.
Well, no, I was just curious, he commented, so I was just curious.
What that is?
Yeah, warrant article.
Well,
Let's have a conversation,
Yeah.
just between us.
Sure.
Please.
okay, I'm gonna do this first, and then if you have questions. This is for a Zodiac, which is a type of boat, 1800. This is a proposed warrant article for the March 2019 meeting. And looks like a boat trailer that goes on, that's not right. 950, so what's that, 2750? Whoops, there's more. Life jackets, tank, paddles, $3,660 is what they're requesting, this, pictures of it. Okay? So, this is separate and above the, what I call the working budget that you put in each year. Okay? I'd like time to look at it and so forth. Okay?
Why do you need that, Chief?
Well, we've had a couple of calls every year for something that happens on the lake. And we haven't had one. I know you offered the aluminum one. We have a boat, we have a boat motor, but we have no boat. so this one here, one of the nice things about it is that the boat itself only weighs 100 pounds, so 2 people can pick it up and move it, need be. At the end of the season, when we don't need it anymore, you can deflate the pontoons on the side and stand it up against the wall. So we can put it away. It's easily transportable, we can pick it up and move it.
If you put the motor on it, how much does it weigh?
The motor probably weighs 100 pounds.
So now we're talking 200 pounds, okay? And in the summer months, this would be inflated and stored outside,
At the station.
but it would be outside, right?
Well, we can try to reconfigure something inside, but it's gotta be really, really tight.
And being exposed to the sun doesn't bother the craft.
Those pontoons on the side, I was really impressed with. I'd never been around them, but when I worked for Brewster Academy, we had 16-foot Zodiacs that were amazing. I was really impressed with how durable that those pontoons were.
Yeah. Kathleen, we all right?
It's coming up.
How
He's
do I like this?
downstairs.
Why do I like this one in the room? I don't know.
Oh, because there's some.
So what have you been doing in the past without this here?
We've been able to just rely on other people being around. We had a call late in the fall for, the 12 PD had reached out to me during the day and said, hey, I think there's a problem with the guy that lives on Tomahawk Island. Well, I reached out to friends on Fox Road to reach and said, hey, is your boat still in the water? And they said, no, it's already been pulled out for the season. I offered, I said, well, I can go out there with my kayak if you want to. And they kind of looked at the situation a little bit more. And then the next day, the guy's boat was gone, because it's the only way he got out to the island. And one of the things that I'm also trying to do is become more valuable to the other towns around us. Between the rescue and the mule, being able to work with Fish and Game and go, hey, there's a problem, there's something going on, I can call Milton. If there's something over in Milton, Farmington, all the other towns around us, if there's a problem out on one of their islands or on their lake, they can always call us.
Roxanne, question? No.
No, no, I was just.
All right.
It saves the life of one person.
So,
Good.
I got a question, okay? Overall length is 9'11", inside length is 6'11". By the time you have someone operating a motor, someone who's an EMT,
Well,
and you have a patient, or a possible patient, is that enough room?
well, I didn't wanna go too big on it, I was trying to keep the cost down. Let's,
I know, but
Yeah,
I mean,
use it.
there's no sense having something that if you can't utilize it, what's the
we
sense to spend the
can,
money on it?
we can always put the backboard going sideways across it.
Okay. I mean, look, I wanna spend money and stuff like that myself, but it's like, inside width, feet, every one of these models is 2'7", okay? The biggest one, the 360 model, overall length is 11'11", so we'll say 12 feet, inside is 8'10", okay? I'm looking at space, I mean, what can you do with it? I mean, I don't think we should, I don't know, it's just something I think we should take a look at. I mean, if we're gonna spend the money, is that the one to get, or, I mean, I wouldn't go any smaller than that, obviously, but if it's something that the voters want, I would like to think if we're gonna do something, let's utilize the full potential of the damn thing, and I get a price for the other one.
Can
I
do
mean, that way they have a comparison, which one do you wanna go with,
Yep.
So,
Right.
and doing a warrant article's fine, I mean, I don't have no problem putting the warrant in there, other than the fact that the taxpayers gonna vote for it, so.
Comments from other folks? How many ways can you put a warrant article in the budget, in the town meeting? 2 ways. The way he's doing it, just through the selectmen, The other way is a petition warrant article. You think there should be no chickens allowed in the town of Middleton? You get 25 authorized signatures and put a warrant article, henceforth and forever there shall be no chickens in the town of Middleton. All
If it's going to run,
right. Okay, EMS, please. Anything? No, okay. John, you're code enforcement, health officer?
Have two issues. One's an old one, ongoing, on Deer Run Road. We already have taken the person to court twice and won. He still lives there, the trash is still there. Now we're getting complaints from neighbors that the trash is even spreading out further. It is now becoming a health problem. I would like to address the three of you, not here tonight, but I want to know which direction we want to go in.
Okay.
I understand through Laura that there was a class that the state gave, that there are other options that we can take.
Okay.
So
That's
what are
one
the
issue.
options? I mean, we're not talking about specifically who it is, other than location, but what are the options?
If
Take
you're
him to
prepared
court again?
answer, we
The,
can-
the options that you have, you take them to court again and spend more money through the town, or we can go in and clean it up ourselves, pay the bill, present him with a bill, not get paid, but wait until we take the house from him. That's not a very good option.
2 liens already on this property for probably 40 grand apiece, if not more, already. We probably already almost own that
It's,
in fees.
So.
We've got about
so if
3
we do-
years.
If we leave the property, then we end up owning it, then we're gonna have to clean it up.
But we won't own it until either the person passes away or,
or if
Just
he
what I mean.
moves or whatever. But there's a lien on it through the town.
liens.
Every day there's a $50 fine added onto it, and it's about 3 years old now. Plus court fees and all of that have to get put onto that.
So your 2 options, one is a health issue, so the health officer, but he can't go in there without permission. The other is a fire issue, which I think the only person that can go on the property without permission is the fire chief.
So we should get together and figure out, I'd like to take you over there and show you what it is,
I'd like to take a look at it.
all right? And then we go from there.
Okay.
The second one is I've got an individual, putting in, clearing a lot, putting in a driveway, and he doesn't have a driveway permit.
Okay.
It's not complete yet, it's a rough thing. But if he starts a driveway off of the road, is that when he gets the permit at that point? Or does he wait until he starts to fix the road, fix the lot? Because he's not building
Prior to.
this year.
Prior to.
Right.
Well, he has to have access in there because he has to cut the
He has
trees,
to have a
get
driveway.
the logs out, and things like that.
Then you get the temporary one.
It's
It's
a
a
temporary,
temporary.
is it a logger in there, then a
No,
logger?
no, it's only a single lot, it's a 5-acre lot.
Then he needs to get a driveway permit.
All right, so then I will tell him that he has to stop work there until he gets his driveway
Right.
permit.
See Rick. Rick just about the permits.
Okay,
Because the whole purpose of the driveway permit is to make sure there's a safe entrance and exit off the road, and even though the house isn't there, somebody's coming in and out.
yeah, that's one part of it. The second part of it is, does he need a culvert across the driveway
Correct.
for water, things like that?
That all should be done
Prior.
prior to
Okay.
anybody.
Because I believe even if they're doing a temporary, something about that apron thing that they might need and all that, right? Yeah.
There are guidelines in terms of how those should be, a temporary one.
He has those guidelines.
All right, well, I'll give him a call then.
Yeah, all
Just
the
tell him to
customer
get it.
does.
So now,
But in here.
now it's a choice whether you do it or not.
Other than that, things are starting to slow down a little bit. We've had
That's too bad.
a lot of building permits this year. was a lot of work going on.
Is there any way for the next meeting that we can probably have a year-to-date on how many permits we issued? I don't care about.
I will have that, I usually do that in the end of the year report with all of that.
Yeah.
I give you a total of what we've taken in and all of that.
Okay.
I will have that at the end of next month. There's one other thing that I wanted to bring up, I don't know, you threw me off track. If I think of it, I'll bring it up later.
Senior movement's going on, yeah.
All right, anything from the planning board, either Joe or, right?
I just know we have a meeting this Thursday, and there's gonna be a couple, issues addressed,
Good.
so, I mean,
All right, police? Nothing. That probably means animal control officer, nothing.
I can, if I may,
Yeah.
she's been active, our neighbor who used to live beside us moved down to, down by the stream there on Silver Street. Basically his, wife left their little 4 or 5 month old puppy out the other morning to meet the neighbor's dog. He got scooped and took off, and he's been running for the last couple of days. But ACO has been down there, she's been down there constantly, helping trying to recapture the small pup down there, so.
Saw her this morning too.
So there's a lot of, there's been a lot of activities over the weekend trying to find that poor dog down there, so. It's a pit bull, not much fur on it, this time of year it's not good, so.
Still missing?
All right, highway, anything from, no. How many plowable storms already?
4.
Four, yeah. Welfare, anything?
Nothing, it's been pretty slow.
All right.
I think I've had 1 call so far, but we're getting into the heating season, so we'll see how that goes.
Conservation,
Conservation Commission is, there's a group looking to talk about putting Tanglewood, improving Tanglewood, and possibly putting Tanglewood into conservation.
excuse me, this one, everybody know what Tanglewood is? It's a proposed but now defunct, development. Right now, there's 3 developments on Sunrise Lake, this would have been the 4th one, it's at the end of Lake Shore. Probably 100 spots in there,
I think
Roads built.
roughly 70 acres.
roads built, culverts put in, nothing ever happened. Roads are slowly growing back in, the culverts are getting washed out. Of the 78 properties, 75 of them have arrived at the doorstep of the town because people stopped paying their taxes, saying, no, what do I want this land for if I'm not gonna build on it? And no one wanted to buy it, so now nearly every piece in there belongs to the town.
But not every.
Right.
There's three pieces that are still, I think,
Right.
last I checked, current on the tax rolls is up to date.
So what the Conservation Commission is looking at is to improve the trails so that they're more accessible to the public. And that entails trail maintenance, they're talking about replacing culverts and so forth and so on. They're also, again, like I say, they're looking to propose that land be put into conservation. That hasn't finalized yet, that would have to go under a warrant article. And they're looking for resources, whether voluntary, taxpayer, grants, whatever, to maintain the trails. So that's the meeting is tomorrow at 10 o'clock. That'll be one of the items that will be discussed.
Zoning, I serve as a liaison for the zoning board, nothing active at the moment. Emergency management, anything from, no. Treasury?
She did not leave anything. I
Okay.
haven't finished mine yet.
School board, I'm the representative for the school board. They are moving ahead with their budget plans, just like we are. There was some basic differences of opinion on how much information to show on a budget request, and I think the budget committee is trying to work their way through that.
Yes, our public hearing for the school budget is tomorrow night at the school at 6:30.
And the school board does have a meeting this Wednesday night as well.
The basic difference in opinion is, town budget is line by line by line by line, and let's say the police department, and then there's a amount for the police department. But you can look in there and say, oh yeah, police chief gets this much, overtime is this much, equipment is this much. And do that for every department. The school budget, I believe, lacks those individual lines.
Nope, we've actually started getting the individual lines.
Okay, good.
Well, we'll see how consistent that is.
How do you vote on the town budget?
The town meeting?
Town meeting in March. How do you vote on the school budget?
Town election.
It's a vote, it's not a meeting per se, okay? They have a deliberative session where you can ask questions, but the real vote comes on a piece of paper.
Yeah, but you vote on the articles, though, right?
Right, yeah, okay. All right, so we did that. Cemetery, I'll ask for public opinion on this. I've done some work with a group on cemetery. The town has been setting aside money for the last 2 or 3 years to provide a place for Middleton residents to be buried in another town. The town is Wakefield. We've put aside, was it $1,300 a year or thereabouts, okay, so that people could be buried in Wakefield. Running along with that is the need for a cemetery here in Middleton. We have none. There's some private ones, but no public cemetery. We've been setting aside money to develop a cemetery. 15,000 or something, or not that much.
We've put aside that much?
Maybe not, maybe it's 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, because now there's clarification of the law that says you do not have to have your own cemetery as long as you have an agreement with somebody else to bury Middleton's residents. So, now the question comes in March, do we wanna have our own cemetery, even though we don't have to? If so, we can put more money in for the capital reserve fund. Or if we do not want our own cemetery, do we just simply pay Wakefield and turn the money that we have set aside to some other use?
So my question would be, what is the purpose of having the availability?
Statute.
Right, but what is the purpose of the statute? Meaning, if I live here and I come up and say, John,
You have to, if you can't provide a place to be buried, this, my
Okay.
understanding is the town will provide you with a
All right,
place
and
to
that's,
be buried.
okay, and so with that said, and I agree with, and that's what I interpret it as. I don't interpret it as, oh, I need to get buried somewhere, I'm gonna go up to the town and say, you need to provide a place for me to be buried.
But still, the town could, and again, I'm not on the cemetery commission, I did do a report, I think the town could still, if you wanted to be buried in the town and you could afford it,
Mhm.
you would pay. It's not free,
No, right,
but if you
okay,
can't afford to pay it, we have to provide a place to put.
right, I get that, I mean, so I guess, wait a minute, so if I say I wanna be buried in Middleton, that's different because that's like being buried in a private or
Right.
whatever. But the
Burial site.
purpose of this statute is to provide a place for someone who can't afford it, right? I want the purpose
It's
of
not, it does not say specifically indigenous people,
Right.
it does not say that.
So if I came to you and said, okay, well, like I died or whatever, and you know, it would
And then
be
you
the.
take them and.
Right.
You died, you come to sign a
Which
copy.
one is coming first?
I know. But I guess the thing is, so, I pass away, whatever, someone comes to you, my husband comes to you and says, okay, I want Roxanne buried somewhere. Why is that the town's burden?
Because the state says it is.
Really?
For example,
I'm just curious as to how this was kind of.
It says that we provide a place for our, it doesn't say indigent
Right.
people, it says provides a place to be buried.
Right, so, so I get that, but the question is who,
Who pays?
yeah,
If
So we
That-
would just
if
tell
you
him to
could-
go to Wakefield. We
Your
have a deal
estate
over
will
there.
pay
Yeah.
for it.
Right.
What's that?
Your estate will pay
Right.
for
What
it.
if they don't have one?
If you
Then
don't
the
have
town
them, then the town
provides it.
pays.
Right, so, so my next question is though, is I know we have an agreement with Wakefield. The agreement with Wakefield is to let somebody be buried there. It doesn't say that that's in addition to the cost to be buried there, correct?
If the way I would read that, is that if you could not afford it,
Yeah,
you had no money in the estate, okay, you couldn't afford it.
right,
Then the town has to bury you someplace.
Yeah.
The town would pay, we pay for the right to bury, whatever the cost.
right, that's where I'm
So it's
getting
in
to, so,
addition. It would
right,
be
so
in
the
addition.
1,200 is just in the agreement
That is,
that Wakefield
is that
will let us
correct? I
bury
believe
somebody.
that
It's just for the
it gives us the
groundskeeping.
right, yeah,
Right.
it gives us the right to go in there and use their facility.
So, right, so I had suggested, and I know Roger's supposed to be checking into this, to say that, wouldn't it be more beneficial for the town to purchase a plot?
Okay, then in that case, then you have to develop a criteria of who goes in there for what.
Which is, so, but I mean, to me, that's just cost, whether you ever use it or you don't use it,
We
I
should
don't know.
let
which-
Roger
right.
do his
Right,
exercise
okay. I'm
before
just-
we get
that was
into the
just
weeds here.
When you asked about the cemetery,
Right.
so.
Yeah, the original question was, what are our feelings about whether or not to have a cemetery? The cost of developing a cemetery, the cost of maintaining the cemetery, the cost of the equipment to maintain the cemetery, the cost of personnel, et cetera, to dig and fill cemetery plots, I think is a huge amount of money that would be better spent through some other avenue, and I'm hoping that Roger will come up with some other avenues that are acceptable to the town. But quite frankly, the cost of our own cemetery in town would be an awful lot of money.
But that whole concept can be extended to anything. Do we pave our roads? It's an expense. Do we live without it? Do we have a new school?
Paving the roads is a necessity.
Well, not to the extent that we have them. We are well known for having such good roads, and I'm very proud of it, okay?
But
But,
it's already been shown that the necessity of a cemetery within town boundaries does not exist.
That only changed recently.
how do you answer someone who says, I've been living in this town for 65 years, I wanna be buried here? Okay,
Yeah.
John?
I got 5 acres out back, dig me a hole.
It's gonna come down to the cost,
Right, it will.
and the cost is astronomical to
Yeah.
put a cemetery in. I mean, you're not talking $100,000 or 200,000, you're in the 6-digit number,
Yeah.
so it's really ridiculous.
The townspeople might very well decide nix and any of that. Roxanne, just to give you a little further insight into why we're paying Wakefield. I was born and raised in Goffstown, New Hampshire. I cannot be buried there because I'm no longer a resident. I don't know what the requirements are for other places. Could I go to Manchester and say I want to be buried there? They might say you have to be a resident. I don't know what Farmington says, Milton, New Durham. Right now, Wakefield cannot refuse it. I might have to pay for my estate. But that's one place where they have to allow me to be buried there.
The only
I
exception,
might
the
have to
whole
be standing
thing,
up straight and straight in, but that's,
the whole exception, the whole thing is you go and purchase your own burial plot.
yeah, I'd have
someplace
to
else.
pay to
If
be.
you wanna go to Goffstown, he could go down and buy his plot now, so when he does pass away, he have his spot down there. He
In
can buy it.
Wakefield,
No.
not in Goffstown.
No, not in Goffstown, he's saying,
They,
I think he got, well,
no.
and
it's
I'm
right
sure
in
that's
front of me.
probably town or that's
Right,
probably
right.
based on town
Remember, there's
statute or whatever.
public and private.
I do know that where I was raised in down East Maine,
Mm-hmm.
my father's buried in the Callis Cemetery, and there's a couple spots beside it that was purchased for when my father passes or whatever. It's not big enough for the whole family,
Right,
but because they're there, and I'm the descendant, I can actually, if I had the money, go down there and purchase a spot to be buried for our family, like
Right.
Tammy, Joey, whatever.
I,
So, but so, I don't want,
I
this
mean,
maybe not
it's
sound
just, I
taxing
just,
in
to
every
me,
town.
and I guess, right, it's further, it's beside the point of whether the town wants a cemetery. Mine was the next step of saying,
Who pays?
No, not
No,
who
can we
pays,
purchase land
the
someplace
purchase,
else?
the thing is,
That would
if
be
we're
that he's
paying,
supposed to be doing.
if, right, he's gonna, why would we be paying $1,200 to,
It's
just-
like a license fee.
right, whereas to me, it'd be like, it would be, makes more sense, and maybe maybe I'm not seeing everything, is like to purchase
See what he just says.
6
see
plots
what he
and
finds
say, then come, when
out. He'll
someone
be
comes.
educated when he figures that out.
No, I'm just, cause I'm like, maybe he would
Yeah.
pay for those within 2 years, so.
John?
We keep only mentioning Wakefield though. We can bury in Milton Mills and we can bury in Farmington also. I know a lot of people who lived in this town who've been buried in all 3 places.
Right,
And
but
nobody has ever
It's not the
received.
same person?
Well, maybe.
Well, you gotta dig them up and do it again.
Cremation.
Okay, all right, so,
Okay, sorry, you digress.
that's it. All right, under new business, I have some items, but I'd first like to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Albro.
Thank you.
I'd like to talk about some
Yeah,
concerns. How's
yeah,
that?
here we go. Let me give these out to
Thank you.
John, I'm sorry, that somehow I didn't correct in, your name was something else and I penciled it in.
He answers to most anything.
I do. Thank you, and hopefully these go into an addendum to the meeting minutes. My name is Don Albro. My wife Marie Albro is over there. And our concern is about a property that was taken by the town on a tax deed this year. And the property had been in the family for some 60 years, owned by my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, Mickey's mother and father. And we, they were good citizens. Kay and Catherine Gigi, you may know her, probably not, a long time ago. But so what happened was, we had the property and piece of land, and we actually had the town do an exercise out there for the fire department. The fire department came out and helped us. They were tremendous. It was a tremendous exercise for the fire department, and they burnt the house down, did an all-day exercise. It was tremendous. So our concern is that the property got taken. And I've listed out a number of points. I've had my attorney come up here and look at the records, because we didn't, we don't wanna go at this half shot here. Mickey is a co-owner with my sister-in-law, Carol Schertzer. We came up to a meeting on March 23rd of this year and talked to John. I believe, Joe, you were here too. And I have minutes of that meeting in here. And it was agreed upon that an agreement would be formulated. And apparently it was. I don't know.
But
My sister-in-law says that she didn't get it, and our name was not even on that agreement, which is in here too. It went to my sister-in-law. We all work. I mean, I'm retired. I'm a school bus driver down in Portsmouth. Very busy. My wife had some medical issues.
I was in the hospital.
So our attention hadn't been great. But after that meeting, we paid. We paid $2,400 to try to make this right. Mickey and I never got the letter. And a letter of that magnitude should have been, I believe, sent registered certified mail. As one of the owners, she did not get the copy of the letter. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I came up here and I made sure that I always got duplicate information whenever there was a problem. Because other than that, my sister and I are on 2 different schedules. She works nights, I work 5 in the morning. So, I mean, we never received it. And I know, it was
And the
not
letter was
sent to me.
never addressed to Mickey.
One at a time.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
I won't say anymore. I can't because I have a heart
Welcome
condition.
to hear both, but just one at a time.
The letter was never addressed to Mickey, Marie Elmore. She never got and I should have thought a letter, an issue of this gratitude, this important, we should have gotten a certified letter indicating on this agreement.
Even a regular letter.
Even a regular letter, because Marie and myself had been very diligent in responding to all, we had lien problems and we were trying to catch up. That's why we came to the meeting, okay? We responded, and the file indicates that everything that was sent to us at our house in Newmarket, we received and signed off on. My sister-in-law, Carol, not as responsible, unfortunately.
But she said she never received that letter.
Yeah.
I'm willing to listen to both, but not both at
All right,
once.
I'll keep my
And she
mouth
said-
shut.
One
she
talk
said-
and then the other talk, not
And
two
she
at
said
once.
she didn't get a copy of the letter. So, you know, in the meantime, from the meeting, we paid $2,400 in taxes on the property, up until the day we got a letter stating that the property was gone, that you people had deeded it. I was totally flabbergasted. Beyond that, we continued to try to work with the town to find out what, I didn't know that the letter even went out. Marie didn't know that the letter went out until my attorney came up here and looked in the file and saw that the letter was only directed to Carol. So we didn't even know that, and we're the responsible party in this. We responded to everything that the town, I mean, we're behind in the taxes. We came here to the meeting on March 26th to try to arrange something to get done. You nicely got the letter out, we never got it. So as a result, you know, we continue to pay, and then, and I was even up here, 12 days before the property was taken, and no one mentioned that the property was getting ready to be taken. And I kept on asking about the letter. No one responded about the letter to me or to Marie.
They said it wasn't ready.
They said all sorts of excuses, or not, they weren't willing to work with us. I guess that's the upshot of this, more than anything else. And so those are the issues. I mean, the letter's key in us losing the land, because we put together a letter which we would have followed, but we didn't know it would even existed. We never got a letter. And I think a matter of this magnitude, we should have got a certified letter. It never happened. We were flabbergasted. When my attorney told me that there was a letter in the file, I said, I can't believe it, you know? And then once again, we're here 12 days before the land was taken. With another $718, we would have been able to keep the land, but no one mentioned it. There was an attitude that, you know, that the town isn't a babysitter. Well, I agree with that to a degree, but I think government works for you too. You know, we were taxpayers at the time, no longer, we don't own the land. So that's our major concern. The major concern around the billing of the taxes is a $1,400 payment that we believe was misapplied to current taxes, not the old taxes. Had it been applied to the old taxes, we would have been all right. We would have been in a position. And so we thought we were caught up. And when we made that $1,400, that's point number 4, we made that point, there was a lot of changeover within the town, within the tax office. So I think communications was poor. So what we're asking for is to reconsider, because now, you know, we have to buy the land back and catch up on the taxes. We're asking for some help, and we're asking for some input in terms of what you folks think. Is there any remedy that we have through the Board of Selectmen to take care of this matter?
Good. If you are addressing that as a question,
Yes.
it sounds like you are, I am aware that this is being handled through attorneys, and as such, I'm going to certainly pass this information along to our attorneys, but I'm reluctant to offer opinion or suggestions until such time as you have your attorney and.
So should we work through your attorney then?
Well, I would think at some point the two attorneys would talk, ours and yours. Any suggestions?
They have spoken.
They have talked, and your attorney, I guess from what I can tell, I mean, we come as taxpayers, not as legal minds, okay?
Right.
They've talked, and they think that, that the presenting of the letter only to Carol is fine. one person in the ownership partnership
Mhm.
received it. But I'm not sure, I've been told, there's different aspects of the law that maybe that's not quite true, you know, so it's something that would have to be litigated. I don't wanna do that, I don't have that kind of money. I mean, I'm a school bus driver, you know, I'm retired, that's one of the reasons we came here, to try to resolve this, you know, by the end of the year. And even in the meeting that we were at, you know, there was indications that this would go to the end of the year, that we could resolve this.
But that's what we thought.
But the key was, Joe, was the letter. And I agree, and the letter should have come, and we should have got the letter, and had we seen the letter, we would have complied.
Regardless of the letter, we sent the letter to Carol because she was the main player here more than you were. Okay, that's just how it was.
Right.
Regardless of the reasons why, but she was sent the letter, she received the letter. She didn't give you, disclose the information to you two, okay?
She
That's
said
nothing
she-
we can handle. That's nothing that's,
Right.
us.
But I have to say one thing.
No, I'm speaking at this
sorry.
point, please. Alright, so, Carol came in and we made arrangements with Carol, not you two, and she asked until September, she thought it was good, August, we gave her till the end of September, and an additional 30 days on top of it, just to make sure, okay? So, I think the town has done anything and everything we can to assure you guys and make sure, her comment is, I can write you a check right now for it, then why don't you make this all go away? She didn't do it.
I
Okay,
don't know.
so I gotta tell you, it's not the town, we don't want property, we don't need the property, we don't need the liability of the property. But the same token, I think as far as the town, we've done everything we can to ensure you didn't get your property taken. Okay, we done everything we thought was right. And let the people know. Now, if you guys don't talk, we can't help that.
Yes,
Can I speak though?
sure.
We came to you, asking you, that August, when we left here that night at that meeting, we thought we had till the end of the year. That's what the meeting said, I played it over and over, I remembered everything that was being said.
That
And he
letter said
kept
the
coming
end of
up, looking,
September.
but wait, he kept coming up here asking for that letter. But we were making payments, I'm in the hospital, I had a heart condition that takes 300 people a year. That's what my problem was, in and out, okay?
I don't want you to go any further.
I know, but the thing is, we came up here because we didn't wanna lose that land and we were making payments right along. He came up August 18th, I'm in the hospital, I said, make sure you make the payments, he does, but when he gets up here, he only had $700. If I didn't have $700 in my checkbook, I could have borrowed it. But instead, you said that was the end of August. That wasn't the
And
end
I
of
personally
September.
asked for the letter, and I never got it. You know, so, I guess what you're.
But maybe there were mistakes all the way around, a little bit. Maybe I'm being stupid and naive, thinking it's way back when. But still, we were doing our due diligence by coming up here. But we had situations, hospitals, doctors, Boston, surgery. You know, I mean,
That's
people
no
have
excuse,
life.
unfortunately.
No, but I'm just saying, we were going by the meeting that we attended, by what you guys had said. We thought we had till the end of the year. We didn't get that letter. I didn't get that letter, and Carol says she didn't get that letter. How can I
You
prove
saw
it?
the record, she got the letter.
No,
No, it was sent out, it wasn't sent a certified letter.
It was not sent out.
Sometimes she signs for stuff and sometimes she doesn't to the same address. So if she doesn't pick up her mail, there's nothing we can do.
There's
We have
nothing in
it,
the
and it
record that
it was
says she
certified.
received it as in a certified fashion.
Okay, I would suggest that this letter, along with any minutes from this meeting, be presented to our lawyer for them to
Okay, good,
review it.
good.
And I'm guessing, Laura, that our lawyer knows your lawyer. so-
Right, they know each other, they talk, they're very
Yeah,
amicable.
it's great.
I mean, you know,
Appreciate you taking the time to come up. Clearly, you have a vested interest in this, and
oh, we have a huge interest, and $75,000 worth of an interest, you know? We were just flabbergasted when we discovered that the land was gone because, and we never received the letter, you know? And we had been up here a number of times, from the time of the meeting my wife, and we made payments and asked for that letter and never got it, and kinda got a cold reception on it. You know, I mean, I think there was some angst about it, to be honest with you, you know? So, okay,
All right, and then
I guess,
Laura, as part of the minutes, besides this, you've made notes about discussion from him, so that's.
Is there
what we included.
anything,
That can
is
be
that
Sent
just,
on,
well, never mind.
thank you for your time, I appreciate your time.
I just wanted to know, is there any way we can get that land back? What would it take to get the land back?
I think that's a question, talk with the lawyer, okay? I suspect there's always a way to get it back, we have in the past,
I thought that was sent out, already.
yeah.
The repurchasing thing was sent out.
Okay, but
See,
Well,
I'm not,
we have the repurchasing letter, we did get that,
When-
yeah.
That's
That's
all
what
they do.
threw us, that the land had been taken and these are the options you have. We signed for all those.
but that was.
We didn't get the key letter. The letter that would have put it, the key letter, we did not get. Thank you
I
for your time.
might make a suggestion, as being a multi-property owner myself,
Mhm.
to make sure that you stay in contact with the tax collector or whatever, to make sure your name is on the bill, because I've had a situation where I don't, and I live here in town, however, but, I mean, I took it out, it's my responsibility
It is,
to say,
I
I'm not
appreciate
getting,
that.
because, I mean, I get several tax bills, and if I don't get that tax bill, I ask, I come up and say I need a copy.
No, we got all the tax
I've
bills.
gotten duplicates
That's not the case.
until
We got
just
all
now.
the tax bills, we got all the liens. We didn't get this big letter that gave us the options to pay off. We came to the town, it was a very friendly situation, we don't
I
want.
did, no, I was here, yes, I was.
It
here
goes
during
way
this-
beyond getting, it just never came to us, to the address that they had. That all the liens and everything were going to, it just never got to us.
It's a two-way street, that's all I'm saying. And I'm just saying that.
What do you mean a
That-
two-way street?
I mean,
Define that.
But everything
it's-
was
it's
duplicate.
a two-way, I mean, like I said, my name, I'm just saying my circumstances, of saying my name is not first on the property. So I don't always get, so I am in contact with the office to say, what's going on, has the bill been
Very good
paid?
point. It's a
Has
very-
this
that's a very
been-
good point.
I'm just saying.
Because we did come up several times and I asked for this letter.
We
It
did.
never got sent, it never even gave it to us.
Okay.
When we were in the town office, can I have a copy? Where is the letter?
Wasn't
I
ready
should
yet.
think
We
they
didn't
would
have
have volunteered, we have a copy of it, we'll give it to you.
Right, okay.
We never got it. We never got it. It got sent to Karen. Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Alright. Now, I have 3 more items to at least discuss, okay? I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but just a few things to think about.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Private roads. We recently had a discussion about access road and pond road. Resident there asked the town to start plowing pond road. Gave it out because of waste management saying they were not gonna go on pond road because the conditions were bad. The town currently still plows a private road under the heading of emergency lane. Old Kate Lane is a private road, it's off Silver Street. At the end of it, Chiquito River goes through their property and goes under this private road. And towns are allowed to plow a private road if it is deemed an emergency road, in this case for fire protection. I looked at it and said, wow, tough time getting the fire truck in here, because there's no place to turn around. The bridge that goes over the road, over the water, is barely passable, big enough for big rigs. In fact, when the town plows it right now, the last 2/10 of a mile is no houses, so you drive down and stop at the road, back that truck back 1/10 of 2, turn around in someone's driveway, get going out, then back down again to plow the other half of the road. I cannot imagine doing that with fire trucks. I asked Chief Lawrence to look into it. He agrees that it's a very difficult place to get trucks in and out of. And I think you also agreed you've never used it.
No.
Okay, and have no intention of using it. So, having read the law, it is within the prerogative of the selectmen to stop plowing. I don't think we should stop in the middle of the winter. It is difficult finding someone to plow, they already have their schedules. So, I would like to present it tonight, and we'll talk about it maybe in the January meeting about next winter and winters beyond no longer plowing, okay? Chief, anything you wish to add, have I summarized it all right? Okay. Next item. This is John Mullen and I, okay? You were probably out working someplace. After one of the recent storms, I parked my truck out here. As I'm walking in, I see the town payloader plowing the church parking lot. And I come in and ask Laura, how come the town is plowing a church parking lot? I've always done it that way. Not 30 seconds later, John Mullen comes in and asks the same question. So I've asked Pastor Tom Gardner, doesn't have an answer. I've asked Rick Washburn and the highway crew. Well, we've always done it that way. There's been some discussion about buses perhaps parking there, but that was before there was a school. The school has a parking lot now, okay? I talked with Andrea Bowden as recently as this evening, the school board is, what do you know about this? Nothing, she doesn't know why we're plowing it, okay? So, I'm welcome for any input on this, but I'm not at all sure why a town is plowing what is ostensibly a private parking lot. All right? Again, I'm not gonna do anything in the middle of winter, but I would consider for next winter that the church would have to figure out how to plow their own property. Yes,
We don't park buses there anymore,
there's a couple
because that's the
small
only
ones.
reason why it was plowed.
Right.
The
Uh,
only reason.
And there's a couple of small white ones, like little van buses. But even if there is a need to park them, we now have a school with a parking lot,
That's fine.
okay? The last item, you have to do a little more research on this one, but I think you're correct. Anybody notice that U-Haul truck parked out here?
Yes,
You know who's using that?
UPS.
UPS. They fill it up with boxes, park it there, lock the door, the back door, and 4 or 5 people that deliver packages in this area come here, they take out their 20 packages, put it in their private car, and off they go delivery. There's some questions whether permission was ever given for that, but regardless, I would certainly like to wonder how we are allowing a private business to use town property like that. In particular, if that truck gets broken into, are we liable? It's on our property.
Anybody have asked FedEx?
Well, that's the next question. Can FedEx put a truck out there?
What are the packages?
Those are UPS out there.
That's UPS.
Oh, UPS, anybody ask UPS?
I do know that the other day, talking to one of the officers, a phone call came in from UPS asking if they have extra patrols out there to wash the van.
I mean,
Nice. Well, they should just park it down in the police parking lot.
yeah, right.
No, not on town property.
Well, no, but I'm just saying,
Right,
you know,
there's
if
a
you want
budget.
extra patrol, just park it down there until, somebody say no.
This is the heating season. Could Irving park a full truck there just to have it ready to be used? Okay? So,
It's a public-private.
Right.
You know how you get a reaction? You get a tow truck and tow it away.
There you go.
I intend to, if we, the selectmen, agree and so forth, I intend to send a letter stating that after this winter, no more, as of, I don't know, for them, could be, it's for Christmas, I think, so maybe as of January 1st, no more parking there, okay? Not to mention that it's, the highway crew doesn't seem to complain, but it's certainly there in the middle of the night when they're trying to plow this driveway out, okay? Maybe UPS could reach an agreement with the church, maybe, that's two private organizations, maybe they can come up with something, all right? Those are my three concerns, all right? And we'll see where we go from here. I probably will not make Selectman of the Year with those comments. Such as
Why
life.
were you trying to?
Just thought. All right, any thoughts on anything?
One comment.
Yeah,
The rec committee just ended their the last event this past Friday, which was the pallet party, correct, Laura?
Yeah,
And I don't know how many people, what, 12 people showed up?
yes.
Okay, so, and I wasn't there because I didn't need to be there, thank God. So, I don't know whether you want to mention more about it. I mean, it seemed like everybody had a good time and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, they're actually wanting to do another one already.
Yeah.
Like,
Mary Kimball came, so she was all over that, from what I
That's fine.
understand.
would it have gone any better at, say, Joe's house, so we could be there? John?
One point of interest, that something might happen from it. Waste Management was bought out today by a larger company.
No, smaller company.
Can't be smaller and not come up with a $1.8 billion.
13 billion.
Well, then the TV is wrong.
No.
That's what they said. It was sold.
Who bought them out?
AFS Recovery something in Houston, Texas.
So anyway, John, what is your point? Might affect
My
all
point
of
is,
what we're doing?
we might have a problem with Waste Management from now on, because it's not gonna be owned by them anymore. This new company's gonna wanna make money.
You don't think they're making money?
Right.
They gave
$140,000 a
$147,000.
year is making pretty good money, I think.
All right, anything else? John?
No, go ahead.
Joanne?
Question for the selectman and Laura, I noticed on the January calendar, there's Carrie, I think it's from MMRG, has got the Old Town Hall reserved. Is there an event or function associated with that, or is it?
She's doing a, pancake breakfast for all their volunteers.
Okay.
She's doing some,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
At 8:22. Jake?